Hello everyone and welcome back to another F1 2020 video. We're going to start with a new series here on the F1 2020 game, driving the 29 F2 cars in the F2 World Tour. Unfortunately the 2020 cars are not available for this particular game mode, but yeah, we're doing the F2 World Tour, which is basically all of the tracks that do not traditionally feature on the F2 calendar. So tracks like Melbourne, China, Vietnam, and so on. I think the season ends in Brazil and then France for some reason. But yeah, there's 10 rounds in this series. We're just scrolling through all of the different drivers, partly just to refresh my own memory on who the options are to drive for in this series. Juan Manuel Correa is a good option. He's making his return to racing just recently, doing some testing in Formula 3 machinery, and will contest this season, so he's a good choice. I might go with Correa. Of course, we do have the King Mahavir Raghunathan along with Anthoine, HUBERT, Tatiana Calderon. All could be options, but yeah, in the end I'm going to go with Correa. We've also got Sean Galale back in the Prema, and also finally Ralph Boschung, who has also made a return to Formula 2 this season, as well as Alesi in the Trident, which is weird to see him back there again. But yeah, we're going to go with the Sauber Junior team by ZHOU's car of Juan Manuel Correa. And yeah, we'll drive as him in the F2 World Tour. And yeah, we're going to do usual stuff, 100% races in both the feature race and the sprint race, full qualifying, and all of that. Difficulty will vary depending on track. I don't really know what to expect coming into this, so yeah, I'll figure that out during practice and update that during the weekend as well. But here we are then in Melbourne for the very first time in Formula 2 cars. I have never driven Formula 2 around this circuit. In fact, I haven't driven F2 around most of the circuits that we will be racing in this championship, so this will be very, very interesting.
Don't push the car just yet. The track is still green. Try and take it easy for the first couple of laps.
So we're not going to show too much of practice, just going to get a feel for the car. I did a lot more laps than what I'm going to show here. I'm just going to show, I guess, the first run out of pit lane, the first half a lap or so, and you'll see what sort of differences between driving an F1 car and an F2 car around the circuit is. Immediately really struggling out of pit lane. Cold tyres, no tyre blankets in Formula 2, so that is a big difference already that we're going to have to come to terms with throughout this weekend after the pit stop. It will be a very difficult phase of the race. We are in the heart of the two available compounds this weekend, and you can see the understeer kicking in from these cold tyres, so it's really going to be a huge effort on the formation lap and on our out lap to get the tyres up to temperature without losing too much time there. And obviously you can see really struggling through what would usually be relatively easy corners in Formula 1 cars. But yeah, we soon get up to speed and yeah, get our eye around this circuit. But you could see just how much we're struggling on the cold tyres. Getting a little bit better now as they find some level of temperature, but a big slide and hit the wall on our very first lap. But we did go on and complete a few more after that, after we boxed for a new front wing, and we're able to set some decent lap times relative to the AI that we are competing against. So that is all good. We can head into qualifying with some confidence, but this time in qualifying we're on the softer of the two compounds, the super soft tyres here in Formula 2, running a little bit deep into turn 1. That's going to cost us a little bit of time. DRS open along the run towards turn 3. We'll see if we can carry any amount of speed through here, taking a lot of curve, using all the exit space, and we seem to be getting through the lap okay so far. So yeah, as you can see, driving significantly better than what I was on that original out lap, but still a lot of room for improvement at the same time. So I just want to get a clean lap in. Considering we're on the super soft compound, it's not going to be easy to go for a second flyer, because these tyres are going to drop off the cliff relatively quickly. So yeah, it's going to be a tricky one to sort of manage our way through, but we'll do our best and see where we pop out at the end. And as we now head towards the fast chicane along the back straight, not quite as fast in the Formula 2 cars, and taking a lot of curb and cutting the corner on the second half of that chicane, because we completely missed the first part. But in the end, that may not necessarily help us, because it does tend to upset the car a little bit. But as we head through now the final sector, missing the apex there, costing ourselves some time, losing that time that we may have gained getting the first half of the lap relatively cleanly through the final corner now, and using a little bit of the curb on the exit. DRS open as we head towards the finish line. Where will we qualify?
Qualifying is complete and we're all set for an exciting race tomorrow. Your top three are LATIFI, Ilott and Jack Aitken. Goodbye for now then, but we really are just getting started. Make sure you join us again for Lights Out tomorrow.
12th apparently, so that lap was actually no good. But I tried to go for a second one, obviously, and we were massively slow. So yeah, that's not great. Latifi's a long way down too with us, as well as Mick Schumacher. Drivers you'd expect to be up a bit higher, especially Delatraz and Boschung down a long way as well. So a very mixed-up grid, and a Lacey right at the front. So very interesting.
Good day and welcome to what should be another fantastic championship season.
First raced in 1996, this race circuit is one of the fastest on the calendar, and despite the lack of elevation changes, it's also one of the most thrilling to watch due to the varying corner types and high-speed straights, meaning there's something for every fan of the sport. Couple this with the typically gorgeous Australian weather, and it's easy to see how this has become such an incredibly popular race event. As we await the start of another hugely anticipated Formula 2 race, I'm joined again by Davide Valsecchi. Davide, as a former GP2 champion, can we get some insight to what is running through these young drivers' heads as they sit out on the grid?
Ciao Alex, it's a pleasure to be here. There are nervy moments, there is no doubts about that. Mental strength is the key to remain calm and focusing on the upcoming race. Formula 2 is so competitive, and all of these drivers knows that they are going to be pushing each other all of the way. In this sport, you have to be able to control your nerves.
As we're now moments away from the off, let's take a look at the grid order in which they'll start today's race. Giuliano Alesi will start on pole, fantastic qualifying from him, and it's Callum Ilott in P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Aitken, De Vries, Guanyu ZHOU, and Galeo, Boccolacci, Mazepin, Matsushita, Anthoine, HUBERT, Giotto, Correa, Mick Schumacher, and Latifi, Tete Camara, King, Delatraz, and Ralph Boschung, Calderon, and Mahavir Raghunathan starts from the back of the grid. And with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
So here we are on the grid then for the first ever feature race in Melbourne. Dry conditions, but plenty of cloud about for this one. The strategy is going to be the harder of the two compounds first, and then finishing on the softer, and it looks like the entire field will be doing a similar strategy, so that is interesting times. But now we get ready to go to the 5 red lights. And the lights are out and we are underway for the feature race here in Melbourne. A lot of wheel spin for HUBERT. Up ahead, Giotto is going to have a look to the inside. They both cover off the inside line. We go to the outside of the Italian and the Frenchman side by side with HUBERT through the first corner. And we'll just about squeeze through there. And now we can put pressure on Matsushita, who's got a bit of a bad exit. But he may be looking for a move himself as he covers us off. Goes up the inside of Nikita Mazepin into turn 3. We're trying to look for the opportunity as now Matsushita side by side with Boccolacci as we're trying to go around the outside of Nikita Mazepin. We're out on the curb though, we can't quite get the power down. Mazepin is going to hold on, we'll have to just hold our ground here, but we've made a few positions off the start, so that's good news for us. We go for a move up the inside of Mazepin. He sees us coming late in the piece there and gives us some space on the apex, and we managed to wriggle our way through there and up into 9th position, so already just one position away from reverse grid pole. So we've recovered a decent amount of ground from our bad qualifying, so now we can just try to focus on getting that one extra position for reverse grid pole, and anything on top of that is a huge bonus. But I'm not really sure how this is going to play out, so it's going to be an interesting race to drive around this circuit. I don't know what the tyre wear is going to be like, don't know what the safety car chance is, and all of that, so we'll see as there's a bit of a lock up for one of the cars up ahead as they begin to battle away in towards the end of this first lap. So we are slowly gaining on these cars ahead. Sean Galale seems to be holding up Boccolacci and Matsushita, so we'll need to see if we can make the most of that while they are in combat. So as we head along towards turn 1 for the second time this race, we're reasonably close to Matsushita, so into turn 3 we might be able to make an overtake. Let's see what we can do as we slide our way through turn 2. That's going to ruin our chance of an overtake unless we can get a good slipstream here. It's actually kind of working for us. They're going to be slow into the braking zone. We'll go for the move up the inside of Matsushita, very fine on the front left there with his front right, but we do make the move on Nobuharu Matsushita, and we are up and into the top 8, taking a lot of curb there to try and maximize the cornering speed and get close to Boccolacci. But that was a nice move on the Japanese driver who has caused us so many headaches in championship fights in Formula 2 cars. He is always there, always competitive, and we have had a few fights with him. Up the inside now of Dorian Boccolacci. That was a nice move as well into that 90-degree right-hander, but it never quite feels as sharp as it is. But that was a good move. But Boccolacci now, as he battle away with Matsushita, he's gotten away. Matsushita is being attacked by Mazepin. Gyotto and Hubert are fighting side by side. Mazepin's just going to get ahead of Matsushita, and it looks like Gyotto will get ahead of Hubert, but they're all scrapping away behind us, and that's all giving us up ahead a bit of a gap to all of these cars. But a lot of fighting back there after we made that overtake on Boccolacci and held him up for a short time. But as we continue on then, we have caught up to Sean Galale, so that is great news for us. We'll be able to make another overtake very soon, and see if we can overtake the Indonesian driver in the same place we overtook Dorian Boccolacci, if we can get a good run here. But he is a little bit nicer out of those corners, and we can't quite get close enough to be able to make that overtake. But maybe out of the fast chicane, you can see he's quite slow through here, so he is definitely costing us time. We're getting stuck behind, but we just can't quite get a good enough exit to get alongside him along any of these straights. Maybe the next one, as we will have the DRS assistance, we throw the car into the chicane trying to carry as much speed as we possibly can. We're pretty close here. I think we'll be close enough to make a move into the final sector. We go for a late dive up the inside. Galale will never see that coming. Luckily the track is very, very wide there, and Galale actually made a bit of contact with us as Boccolacci is able to get through on Sean Galale. So he loses 2 places. Here's the onboard with Sean, and you can see we go sailing up the inside. He gives it a bit of horsepower on the exit of the corner, and it has a bit of a slide on the exit, and you can see from the offboard here he was already sliding before we made the contact, and yeah, just a bit of an issue there, but he's able to continue on his way. I don't think there was any notable amount of damage on his front wing, so he will be just fine. He'll be able to continue on in this race. But next up is Guanyu ZHOU. He's a little way up ahead.
We're increasing our gap on the car behind by around...
And now radio isn't working.
Zhou just ahead. Push for the position. The gap to the car ahead is 2.5
So yeah, 2.5 seconds to ZHOU. Quickly it turns to a couple of tenths as we're going to go for the move up the inside into this same corner. We've made a couple of overtakes already today. Very aggressive, that one. But we did make it stick cleanly as we lose the back end a bit on the exit, but we do maintain the position ahead of the Chinese driver. Here's the onboard with Guanyu ZHOU, and you can see just sailing up the inside and just barely keeping the car on the circuit. But ZHOU probably wouldn't be too impressed with that, but it was a fair enough move in my opinion. But caution up ahead. Who is going to have an issue here? There's someone who has had a mechanical failure, and it's our teammate Callum Ilott. He is out of the first race of the season. That is not good news for us. Hopefully he can get some better luck in future rounds, but that's going to ruin his chance of points this weekend. But we've caught up now to Nick de Vries, who was a bit held up. We've got to run here. We might actually be able to go for a move as we head towards turn 4. But the safety car is out as we go up the inside. De Vries locks up, but there's just no opportunity for us. And instead, we have to follow the Dutchman into pit lane. And we will make our compulsory pit stop now very early. We're just halfway through the race, roughly. And we're going to go on to the softer compound of tyre now. So I'm not sure if these tyres will last to the end, and what everyone else is going to do at this stage. I was very surprised to see Nick de Vries coming in ahead of me. I was always going to risk it and try to go to the end on these tyres, because even if we're slow, the fact we can make this stop under safety car, we don't have to worry about warming up the tyres and losing time there. That is a huge advantage for us. But we come out and we actually jump Nick de Vries in the pit stop phases, so that's great news for us. But we've got Jack Aitken ahead, and then everyone else is yet to stop by the look of things, so that is pretty good. I think we're in effectively second position then, depending on what the strategy for everyone else is. Jeff did say one more stop as we came out of the pit lane. We're not going to do that stop. We're going to just run to the end and hope for the best. The tyres should go the distance if we look after them, but whether everyone else can do that or if they make another stop, only time will tell. But yeah, for now, we just need to try and make the most of all these slow cars ahead of us holding up Jack Aitken, and we might be able to make a move on him while he is held up. But I'm not feeling quite as comfortable, I have to say, on these tyres. They just feel a little bit weird in the car, so we're going to hopefully get past Jack Aitken and then try to defend the position later on, because I don't think we're going to quite have the pace, just because the car just has a bit of a weird feeling at the moment. So as we continue on, Aitken hasn't been able to make a move. We go up the inside, just about squeezing through as he's held up by Jordan King, and we make the move on Jack Aitken. Later on then, everyone files in to the pit lane to make their one and only pit stops for this race, and we don't actually get the lead because Lacey is also on our strategy, and he has been absolutely flying in this race. So Lacey will be one to watch for sure, but remember, he has another stop to make. So
Lacey is ahead of you. The gap to the car ahead is 6.0 seconds.
So long as we can stay close to him, we will be okay, and we will maintain the lead once he makes his stop as we go for a huge slide through the final corner. That was very, very nice. Boccolacci tried to make a move, but ended up not having the momentum to do so. But as we continue on, Jack Aitken rather, that was not Boccolacci. He goes up the inside into the right-hander here, but unable to quite finish off the move. But Aitken is really putting the pressure on now as we continue on, and he is able to eventually get through. We're going to see if we can get a nice run onto the back straight. That isn't very straight, but we just can't do it, and Aitken is through and ahead of us, and I don't know if we'll be able to fight back. He's already opened up a decent gap as the Dams car of Nicholas Latifi retires from the race with a mechanical issue. Unfortunate for him. But continuing on then, we do take second position when Lacey makes his stop. Matsushita retires from the race as well. That was another mechanical failure for the Japanese driver, and that's going to ruin his weekend, which started off rather well with that overtake down at turn 3.
You're leading the pack. P1 Aitken is behind you. They've just entered the pits. They're on old super softs. Your pit window is open. Pit window is open.
But yeah, 6 laps to go now, and we've taken the lead as Aitken has made his final stop. And do not be fooled by the big margin in the top left corner, because we are struggling for pace at the moment. These tyres are really getting on in their age, and they're not gonna. They're going to make it to the end just about, but we're going to be incredibly slow. You can see we're struggling already. We move on to the very last lap of the race, and keep an eye on that delta in the top left corner, because it is just painful to watch as we head through the first couple of corners, down to under 7 seconds now on the run-in to turn 3, and that delta is just going to keep coming down. Lacey is just so fast at this point in the race on some much newer tyres, and we are just struggling to keep these tyres under control. We're taking these corners so slowly compared to what we could. I'm staying off the curbs as well, because I'm not sure if running over curbs and grass increases the chance of getting a puncture, but our front left tyre is within that puncture territory that you need to be careful of, so I am treating it very, very carefully at the moment, just to make sure we can get to the end. A bit of a wobble there, and that's going to cost us even more time, as now LATIFI is only 4.5 seconds behind. He is really closing this gap very, very rapidly, and we are absolutely sending it through this middle sector chicane. We cannot afford to lose time through there and all the way along this straight, so we took the risk there, but 4 corners to go now. We might just be able to do this, but our left front could blow up at any moment, and a missed apex there is going to cost us even more time through the third to the last corner. The second last corner to the left, the front tyre is going to have a bit of a break here, as the right side tyres do not work quite as hard around this circuit. One last big turn to the right, as we have a lot of understeer using all the road and then some, but we're going to do it. LAC's nowhere near us, 2 seconds back. We're going to hold on for the win here in Melbourne. What a race.
Absolutely fantastic. It's a brilliant result. Well done.
I did not see that result coming at the start of this race, starting 12th, but the one-stop strategy using the safety car worked out for us. Calderon, driver of the day, she finished 5th, I think.
So Charus have won it, and what a great race it was. So Davide, how exactly did they set themselves apart from the pack today?
The safety car made a big difference today, there's no doubt about it. I can't be certain, but it would have been a very different race and probably podium too without it. What I do know is that they came out of that situation in a favorable position. The safety car really does alter the balance of the race.
It's time for those well-deserved celebrations. They may be one of the newer teams to join F2, but the Charus team have shown they're a force to be reckoned with, taking home the victory. Well done to everyone on the team.
So we do manage to take home the race win. Giuliano Alesi, a great race from him. So much pace in that car, it's quite insane. He will be a formidable opponent. He finishes up P2 with Jack Aitken in 3rd.
After this round of the World Championship, here's how things look in the Drivers' Table. Juan Manuel Correa takes the lead of the Drivers' Championship. And now, Davide Valsecchi, let me ask you, who is your driver of the day?
I go for Tatiana Calderon. She was so fast today. She really impressed me.
And now a look at the team standings. Trident moved to the top of the table. After all this drama, you'd be mad not to join us for the next race. We hope to see you then. Take care.
Well, what on earth was that race that we just witnessed? Calderon P5, Delatraz and Boschung both making huge ground, both starting at the back, and well, same with Calderon starting at the back as well, and being able to make a different strategy work to everyone else, the 3 of them, and really gain some very, very decent track position at the end. So yeah, it was a very, very mixed up race in the end, and the reverse grid race is going to be even more so because now there will be, I guess Delatraz will be starting on reverse grid pole, I think, if I saw that right, and Calderon will be starting on the 2nd row, so who knows, she could potentially be fighting for a podium here in the sprint race. For us, we'll be starting down in 8th position, obviously, so that is going to be a challenge because, little spoiler alert, it's going to be raining in the next race, as we have a bit of damage to our nose cone there. I wonder if that came from the first corner. We did get very close to the back of Mazepin and Matsushita, but anyway, yeah, as we continue to scroll through these highlights, I don't know where we would have finished in that race if that safety car didn't come out at the time it did. We would have beat De Vries and made a charge probably for the podium, but I don't think the win was really on the cards with the pace that Alesi had. That was quite insane. So yeah, we got some work to do to get onto his pace, but nonetheless, I think we had a pretty good race, and obviously coming home with the win, you can't really ask for too much more. But yeah, we were very lucky getting the strategy right on that one, and we are definitely going to have some greater struggles in the next one, especially in the rain. I've never been too comfortable in the rain in the Formula 2 cars recently, so yeah, it's going to be an issue, but we'll work with it the best we can, and hopefully we'll be able to come away with a decent result in that one. But we've already got a huge bank of points for this one, so I can't complain too much about that. Let's get into the sprint race.
Hello and thank you for joining us as we get a new championship season underway.
I'm Alex Jakes, and joining me here today, the legendary GP2 champion, Davide Valsecchi. Great to have you back once again, Davide. I'm seeing a lot of ponchos and umbrellas out there today. Do you think the rain will have a big impact on the race?
It's fantastic to be back, Alex. I'm just glad we are warm and dry in the commentary box. Rain can completely change the outcome of a race. Those drivers who couldn't hit the pace in qualifying yesterday now have a real chance to surprise us. Anything could happen out there, and I think we are in for a real treat.
Alright, so as you can see, the rain coming down for the sprint race, and so is my mood heading into this one coming down. But anyway, we will have a look. Obviously the wet weather tyres, it's going to dry up towards the 90-minute mark, but the race is only 45 minutes long. We'll be lucky to get to the light rain conditions, so we'll see how that goes. But anyway, we go to the 5 red lights, and away we go for the sprint race here at the Albert Park circuit. A lot of wheel spin off the line for us, and we're going to struggle to even see the cars around us, let alone know if we're gaining or losing positions. We've lost a couple as we head up towards the first corner, getting squeezed by one of the Pramers there on the left hand side. We're just going to see if we can survive these first few corners and where we pop out on the other side, and we do and indeed lose a couple of positions down to 11th place. That was Galale making the move on the left hand side. We're going to see if we can go up the inside of the Indonesian into turn 3. We do manage to re-overtake him and take that position back, but yeah, we are really struggling to see anything in these conditions. We have got the campos of Dorian Boccolacci ahead of us now, but he soon clears away, and we are really struggling as we head towards the final sector. A huge slide on the exit. Galale gets through. We almost make contact with him in exactly the same way he hit us in the previous race, so there is a bit of karma for him, I guess, being able to get through there after the contact in the previous one. But as we continue on, you can just see how much we're struggling in these conditions. We just have no pace, and it's going to be a huge struggle to get points, but we'll do the best we can as we're being attacked by the Italian Luca Giotto down the inside, and we are able to just about hold it through around the outside, but a big slide through turn 2, and that's just losing us so much time. Every slide in the wet conditions, just the time just goes down the drain. So yeah, we really need to keep it clean in this one, and try and drive as smoothly and as properly, I guess, as we can. But as we continue on, the pace is alright versus Sean Galale up ahead. He gets ahead and falls back towards us periodically, but we're just struggling so much, and every time that we make a mistake, we start being attacked by the cars behind, and that's what's also costing us a lot of time. But there's an issue for one of the cars ahead. It's Lacey, who had so much pace in the previous race. He will not finish the sprint race here, and he is out. Also out of the race is Anthoine HUBERT, who also has a mechanical failure, so that is day done for the 2 Frenchmen in this. But now, as we continue on, we're being attacked by Nikita Mazepin, who's on the inside, but he backs out of it before we get to the first corner, and we'll hold on to the position for the time being. But yeah, is all this actually going to be worth anything? Because we're going to struggle to score points anyway, and yeah, the light rain conditions are going to be around for a while yet, as we have a huge issue there through turn 5, and that's allowed Mazepin to get up the inside, and he might be able to make a move on us the same place we overtook him in the first race, Mazepin's up the inside, and he might be able to get a run here, but he does not quite manage to do that. But we're on the grass as we head up towards the back straight, and now Mazepin will make a move to the inside, and he's going to get there. We'll give him some room, and some contact is made because now Matsushita is getting involved as well, so all kinds of chaos is unfolding here as we're about to get swamped here on either side. Potentially they were looking like that might happen, but I think they both backed out of that move, realizing that was never going to work. 3 wide along the back straight in the rain in Formula 2 cars with very little downforce, as it is relative to F1. That was never going to end well, so as we continue on, we continue to try and fend off these cars behind us, and we're just struggling with so much understeer there. Matsushita has a little look to the inside, we cover him off, but we understeer ourselves so far into this right-hander, and Matsushita just slides on through. It's like he's on a different track. He just has so much extra speed, and as we continue to struggle, a huge slide there, and now Mazepin's going to have a look to the inside as we head through this right-hander. We give him some room, and oh, he's hit us there. It's going to be a huge slide for us. Mazepin's in the wall, and we are very lucky to get away with that. We'll see on the replay here exactly what's happened, but you can see Mazepin there just driving into the side of us. I'm not sure what exactly he was thinking he was doing. We were on the outside line. He just needed to turn down to the right a little bit harder there, but he tried to take the racing line and crashed out of the race. He's hasn't lost a wheel, he's still in the race, but he's going to be struggling for the rest of this race after having to make a pit stop. He is going to finish last, no doubt about it, but as we continue on, we continue to struggle with some tyre issues, as now we are under pressure from our teammate. We dive back up the inside though, into the 4th to last corner. Ilot gets a textbook switchback though, as we run a bit deep, and Ilot is through, and we are down into 11th position. Once again, we've been in and out of the top 10 a bit, but yeah, we just don't have the pace at the moment. And the most frustrating thing is, I know we can have pace at times. We can set some really good lap times and keep up with the cars around us, but just the consistency is not there, and that's what's costing us so much. There's just so many mistakes, but if there were no mistakes, we would be in a decent position. See here, we're going back up the inside of Ilot, a little bit of contact made as we couldn't quite make the move, but you know, through those first 2 corners we had a good run, but it just didn't work out for us. But something that is working out is ZHOU, who wins the sprint race here in Melbourne. That is a great drive from him, and look at this, in 3rd position Tatiana Calderon is going to hold on, and that is a podium position for the Colombian. Great drive from her as well, and for us it is far from that as we head around the last couple of corners. Very wide there, and that's going to now allow Nicholas Latifi to get through, and now look who's behind us. It's Mahavir Raghunathan. That is a sign of how badly this race has gone for us, and he's up the inside as we head into the penultimate corner. He might actually be able to get the move done here as we go in deep, running wide, and he's got the run on the exit. He's through. Raghunathan's past us right at the end there, and that race was just terrible for us, and we're going to come home in what is only 13th position in the end.
That's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Ferme.
Unbelievable. From a race win to that. In the end, we only dropped 5 positions for the number of DNFs and issues for other people in that race, but not good enough.
So as they climb out of the car, the Carlin team are ready and waiting to celebrate a thoroughly deserved win. And Davide Valsecchi, give me your thoughts. How did they accomplish this result?
This race, this win, was about one thing and one thing only: consistency. Anyone can be quick for just 1 lap, but there's a difference between that and being quick every lap, over and over and over. If you can do that, if you can gain ground when your opponents make mistakes, but then not make mistakes on your own, you can just push and push.
And there you have it, today's winners. Having raised some of the biggest names in F1 to date, Carlin have once again shown their expertise when it comes to recruiting new talent. No doubt today's winners have a bright future ahead of them. They certainly deserve it after today's performance.
So it is Louis Delatraz who takes the race win. Nick de Vries finishes up in 2nd with Tatiana Calderon on the podium in third.
So then, it's time to see how this result affects the Drivers' Championship. And so, driver of the day then, Davide Valsecchi, who do you think you'd go for?
I choose Callum Elliott, the English driver. He was so aggressive today, he made the difference just in that.
On to the teams then. Trident move to the top of the table. That's it for today's race. From Davide and I, it's goodbye, and we'll see you when Formula 2 returns.
I don't know what to say about that. That was just no good. So, yeah. On to the next one. I guess the next round will be in China, so that will be very, very exciting to race F2 cars around there. Home race for Guanyu ZHOU. Unfortunately not on the calendar this year either in Formula 1, so it may be one of the last times we race around that circuit on this channel, so we'll see. It might return to the calendar at some point in the future, of course, but well, I hope it does, because I do really like the Shanghai circuit. But yeah, for us that was just a race of being overtaken, unfortunately. And yeah, look at that, 3 wide back there. But yeah, that was just no good, that one. And yeah, we had no pace, but still decent championship points from the first race, obviously taking home the maximum there, so can't be too disappointed with the weekend as a whole. And I'm really looking forward to the rest of this series, racing the Formula 2 cars around the circuits they would not usually race around. So yeah, really looking forward to the rest of this. And yeah, we're obviously going to be going to the likes of China, Vietnam. That is the crash with Mazepin. That was the weirdest moment in the race. But yeah, I'm not sure exactly what Mazepin was trying to do there. Just tried to make the move on the inside, and then decided to take the racing line despite there being a whole car on the outside of him. So yeah, cost him any chance he had of points in this race, and cost us a bit of time too, but thankfully we were able to keep it out of the wall somehow. That was a bit of a save in itself. But yeah, other than that, there's not obviously too much else left to cover. No real R&D talk or anything in Formula 2, so that is about it. So I will say thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time for round 2 in China. There's the contact with our teammate. Hopefully we don't do that again. But yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.